All right, today's shir is being sponsored by Simcha Weichbrod. Unfortunately, last night there was a last second change. Somebody that was supposed to do the Shabbos brachas got corona, so we did the Shabbos brachas by us. My wife didn't tell me about this until later on, so I couldn't give a shir last night. It was in our house, and I was part of the Shabbos brachas. So some of the sponsors, the full day sponsors, are going into today. So today's shir is sponsored by Simcha Weichbrod. Lili Nishmas Yaakov Ben Chaim Gavriel. Today's shir is being sponsored L'schusoi Shel Harav Goyin HaChosid Adin Ben Rivka Leo Evan Yisrael Steinsaltz. This is Rabbi Steinsaltz. Shakadosh Baruch Hu Yishlach LeRefuah Shlema B'Karev Mamish. Sponsored by Robert Liebman. Let's try to mute him. Rabbi Isai, Avi Factor, you're unmuted. A lot of people are unmuted because Gary's not on yet. Sponsored by Robert Liebman in honor of the memory of my sister Yedidis Balchabas Abba Menachem, Joyce Feinberg, who was murdered in the attack on the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, October 2018. Also sponsored L'Refuas. Let's see if I have it here. L'Refuas Yerachmiel Ben Yocheved, and also L'Refuas Zahava Bas Malka Chana. Should have Refuah Shlema B'Karev. Rabbi Isai, Yeshur Koyach for sending in videos. Not nearly as many as we need. It's about maybe 15 people sent in. Yeshur Koyach to those who sent in. Beautiful. Oh, let me get this down. Sorry. Hold on. Let me move it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't see.
Okay. How about now? Better? Sorry. I'm used to Gary controlling, but Gary's up. I know. He was up very late, until like 11 o'clock last night. Mamish late. I don't know what's going on with him. We need somebody else that could control. This is the second day in a row. He's good? He's on? He muted everybody? No. David Handler is still not muted. All right. Rabbi Isai, once again, if you could send in a short clip. We're looking for more than 15 of these clips. Gewaldig. We're going to throw some music in, do some editing. Send it to this number. Send it to Yosef's number if you have it. Send it to Yeshua. I want you to think about this. While you make the clip, Imoy Anoichi B'tzara.
Gary's on.
All right, Shkoyach Gary. Thanks for joining us. The shir starts, by the way, at 7:14. Just in case the Olam forgot, not at 7:18. Sorry. Think about this. While you're making the clip, think about what Eli Stefansky has to go through every day to make an 8-minute daf. You have to look at the camera to yourself, talk to yourself, make mistakes, re-record the whole thing. Try it out. It's a lot of fun. I'm not asking for 8 minutes. 1 minute, a quick drasha, say who you are, because some people sent us videos, I have no idea where they are. Who you are, where you're from, and that's it. It doesn't have to be anything. Just hi, shalom, I'm from here, Phoenix, Arizona, bye. So that's that. Very interesting. You remember I said to Maisa that I got a bracha by the chuppah when I got Edi Kedushim by the chuppah 28 years ago. And 28 years later, I got a bracha by a chuppah. So this is what my wife received yesterday. It's basically a picture from that wedding. This is me, right over here. And it says, wouldn't that story be unbelievable if it happened exactly 28 years ago? We were off by a day. Matti Frankel's anniversary was yesterday, I think, something like that. So here's the thing. Unbelievable Ma'isa, Hashgacha Pratis. 28 years to the day. As I said the story, I said 28 years. I didn't realize almost to the day. I want to tell you real quickly, you know what, let's just read this. This is one of my favorite emails. This is from the Hall of Fame. I said I can't really read it because it's 4 or 5 pages long, but I'll start. I'll do part of it. We'll go until the Siyum. We'll be messiahing this email. It's an anonymous email. It says his name here, but I guess I can't say it. Dear Reb Eli Shlita, as I'm finishing the second Masechta together with you, share on YouTube, I thought writing a few words to the best Maggid Shir Reb Eli Stefansky. In Shabbos, Kuf Yud Ches, Omer Abaya, Teiseli, the Kochazina, Turban Rabbanan, the Shalom, Masechta Rabbanan, Avina, the Yom Tova. Bekitzi goes through a whole Arichos. Here, there's Shtikal Torah here. Now, I hope I didn't show his name over there. Great. Now, the importance and urgency of learning Torah daily b'kfiyas, as you say, it's not about the Daf, it's the Yomi. It's clearly portrayed in the two above Gemaras. Either like the business, Asakta B'Torah, or like Kovata Itam L'Torah with Yeshir, both can be achieved. Now listen to this. Basically, this email is a chazara of a lot of different shiurim. So he goes, and you have to listen carefully. No difference if you're a caterer from Baltimore, an electrician from Muncie, a real estate guy from Chicago, a doctor from Ramat Bet Shemesh. I don't know if he's talking about Dr. Factor, Dr. Epstein, Dr. Mazinkas, whatever, okay? A book writer, I guess it's Nachman. An app writer from South Africa. Well, he thinks Leon Welcher is an app writer. Leon Welcher has one of his guys in his company that's an app writer. A soul, S-O-L-E, soul from Italy. Bali Tshuva, a group from Manchester. A Chavrusa from Borough Park. A first-time learner from Maine. A Maggid Shir doing Chazara. Hatzalah member from Crown Heights. Or a surfer at sea in Malibu, California. Any profession, any location, any connection, Yeshir makes it easy, is via Zoom, YouTube, 8minutedaf.com, full daf, all daf, WhatsApp group, or in person, RBS Merkaz Daf Yomi building, full daf, for just 8 minutes, regular speed YouTube or 1.5 speed YouTube. There's no reason for not learning. Just a few more lines here. The geschmack you're adding is indispensable. If only more people will be listening to your shir, there'll be less people leaving the fold. Less bucherim. So this is a clue. B-U-C-H. So, and he says later on, he's Hasidish. Bucherim will lose interest in Yiddishkeit, as it says, Hama'or shebo machzir lemutav, which literally means geschmack. I wish all my Maggid Shurim and all yeshivas, all Daf Yomi Maggid Shurim can access geschmack to shiurim like yours, there would be a different world. It goes on, Rabbi Isai. To be continued. All right, it's a special day today. It's Tu B'Av. Lo'hoyom Tov Yisrael ke Chamisha Asar B'Av and Yom Kippurim. I just want to share with you really quick one of my favorite verses of all time. It says in the Medrash that on Tu B'Av today, Klal Yisrael used to get into the grave. They used to dig graves after the Chet HaMeraglim on Tisha B'Av. They would dig graves every single year. And I think it was half of Klal Yisrael would die and the other half would live, and this would be every single year on Tisha B'Av for 38 years, until the final year when they dug a grave and they didn't die, and that was it. That was the end of the death of the Meisei Midbar. So the question is, why didn't they die? And they explain it's because they davened with such heart that they didn't die. And the question is, if you go into a grave, you dig a grave, and there's a 50-50 chance that you're going to die, aren't you going to die b'kavana? Aren't you going to die? Aren't you going to daven b'kavana? You know that you have a 50% chance that you're going to die. And the vart was amazing. It hit me when I heard this vart. We had this Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Erlinger, give a shir in my house for 2 years, and I think this was like one of the first vartim I heard from him. It really stuck. And that is, when a person has a 50% chance that he's going to die, he doesn't daven the same way when he has a 100% chance that he's going to die. And when it was the last final year before you go into the entire Yisrael, and they knew that everybody that was in the midbar is going to die, so you knew that you are going to die. So you get into your grave, and it's a 100% chance you're going to die. That davening is in a whole different level than if you have a 50% chance that you're going to live. It's a different davening. And that's the Yisayid in davening, that when you daven, it has to be 100%. That when you give that tefillah 100%, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu listens. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu has no way out of it. It's a whole different davening. It's an amazing vart. Let's see the Gemara. It says the Gemara, we have a whole daf of Agadah today. Today's daf Kufnun Beis. All right? We're going for the thing, and the thing is not here as usual. All right, we'll find it. We won't find it. But that's part of the, I'm telling you, it's like a little bit of a Yetzer Hara because I had it here before Shir start. Okay, I'm going to find it soon. Says the Gemara, we're holding 14 lines from the bottom. We got to move to all the Vartim. Tanya. I'll give you a chance to find it. Kufnon Aleph on the base, 14 lines from the bottom. Tanya Rebbe Elazar Kappa Omer. A person should constantly daven not to be poor. If he's not poor, ba benoi, his son will be poor. This concept of struggling for parnasa is a given, says the Gemara. It's going to happen 1 in every 3 generations. However, the Gemara says if you daven, going back to the davening, if you daven, you could overcome even that gzeira. Shenemar ki biglal hadover hazeh. Torah is very small. Galgal. What does biglal mean? Biglal is a lashon of a wheel. Galgal shechayz ba'olam. It just keeps on coming back. Omer Rav Yosef. Nektin and haitzum mirabanan lo mi'ani. We have a Kabbalah. Tamid Chacham, don't become poor. What are you talking about? There's so many people that are poor in the Tamid Chacham. They won't have to go from door to door. Now, by the way, just want to point out, we have so many different types of people here, and we have even Satmar Hasidim, and Satmar Hasidim are known for their tzedakah. The Rebbe, the Satmar Rav, I should say, instituted that they should go knocking from door to door. Every single Satmar Chassid has to go knocking to understand what it means to be ani. It's an unbelievable thing. When it comes to chesed and tzedakah, there's nobody like them. So Talmid Chacham, the simple pshat is Talmid Chacham doesn't have to go. People take care of him. Reb Chia told his wife, listen to this Gemara. It's a very important Gemara. Ki osi anya, when a poor person comes, agdimi le rifta, you should give him bread before he even asks you for bread. Ki so that your children should be the same thing. So if they need, your children are going to need. Akash Baruch Hu mida keneged mida, will make sure that they receive before they even ask. Omer lei, meila kolaitis lu. Why are you cursing our children? Why are you saying that our children are going to be poor? They're going to have to beg. Omer la krokosiv. I'm not making anything up. I'm just telling you a fact. It's a pasuk. Ki beglal adav hazeh ve'etani the very shmal gagol shechayz ba'olam. There's no choice. If we're not poor, then our children are going to be poor, and that's the way the world works. Now, I just want to point out real quickly. In the Shulchan Aruch, it says that one of the 8 ma'alois of tzedakah, one of the 8 ways of it, is to give before the ani even asks. Says the Heilige Vilna Gaon, the Gra. He says it's based on this Gemara right over here. It says you should give before you're even asked. Now, the famous Gaon also that it says in the pasuk. It says in the Torah V'nosnu 15 times, but only in this one it says V'nosnu, and the famous vart that he says V'nosnu goes both ways. If you give, you'll get back. V'nosnu in reverse. However, one more vart the Vilna Gaon says, if you look closely, the trup is Kadma ve'azlo. Kadma. If you give beforehand, before they even ask you, Azla, then it's going to continue flowing. That's the Vilna Gaon. Says the Gemara. That's almost it for charts for today. It's a gadata. Gagol shechoyzer. Rabbi Omer. V'nosan l'cho rachamim v'richamcha v'hirbecha. Because Baruch will give you compassion. He'll have compassion on you. Kol hamerachim ala briois. If you have compassion on all of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's creations. What does it mean all? Not just your type of people, your Hasidim and your group, and your Litvaks and your this. Ala briois, on all creations, including Goyim, including animals. Mirachim, how do I know animals? Because the Mesilas Yesharim says, Mefurish and Perek Yutes, he brings this Gemara, and he says, if you do this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu moided mida keneged mida. If you have rachmanas on them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have rachmanas on you. And then he says, V'chlal lo yazeh shelo litzar l'shum brio afilu bali chayim. Even animals you cannot bother, hurt, and torture. Zog the Gemara, V'chol she'enu mirachem ala brios, ei mirachem ala v'men hashamayim. We are holding 7 lines from the bottom. Rabbi Yisai, Ad shelo yitechshach hashemesh v'or. We're going back to that Koheles, which Shlomo HaMelech kept on talking about the body. The body, that life is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Literally. You only have one time to live, and you better make the best out of it. And as you get older, We learned yesterday, your spine is going to snap, and this is going to that, and now we're going to continue with the rest of the body. What's going to get dark on your body? Zupadachas, your forehead. It kind of shines, it lights, but when you get older and all those wrinkles and you stop shining. V'achoitem in your nose. V'yareach, what's the moon? Zuneshama. V'akichavim. What's the stars? These are your cheekbones. And the clouds are going to come back after the rain. Zoy ma'or enof shel adam. This is the eyesight. Once you cry too much, you lose it. Your eyes become like cloudy. Omer Shmuel, haydim aso adar b'mshnin hadra. Tears, they could rejuvenate until you're 40 years old. Become ve'elech lehadra. After 40, not. V'omer Nachman hay kuchla. The Gemara is very busy with kuchla always. Kuchla, they used to put this stuff in their eye, some sort of, makeup. Says the Gemara, thank goodness we don't have it today. Adar b'mshnin marvach. Until you're 40 years old, it does good. Mekan ve'elech afilu malya ka'avisona the girdoi. Girdoi we had a lot. The weaver stick. If you take a weaver, like you take a broomstick, apply it with a broomstick to your face. That's how much you're putting on. Maybe it'll keep your eyesight as is. It's not going to go back to where it used to be. What do you see from it? The more you put on, the better it is. Says the Gemara, crazy story. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just the father emailed it to Alta Yerachmiel Ben Yocheved.
Oh, what? Which one? Okay.
Alta Yerachmiel Ben Yocheved.
Alta Yerachmiel Ben Yocheved. Alta Yerachmiel Ben Yocheved. Okay. Shkoyach, thank you. Alta Yerachmiel Ben Yocheved. 8-year-old kid, brain tumor. One of our people, one of our chabura, we should daven b'kavana. Alta Yerachmiel Ben Yocheved. Zog the Gemara. Unbelievable story here. Reb Chanina shchiva lebrate. Reb Chanina lost a daughter. Lo yehava kabochi Allah. He wouldn't cry. Amar le Devisus, his wife tells him, Tarnagoyla pikta mebeisach. What, you lost a chicken? What, it's nothing to you? Amar lo Tarti, you want me to suffer 2 losses? Tichla, my daughter, v'ivra, and I should become blind? Of course I'm being bitzar, but I'm trying to prevent those tears. They're dangerous. Savalakaha, he held like this. Manda Amar Damar Rabbi Yochanan Shum Rabbi Yosef ben Ketzarta. Sheish D'moisim, there's 6 types of tears in the world. Shalish Yafais v'Shalish Rois, there's 3 that are terrible. Shaloshan, caused by smoke, v'Shabchi, when you cry because of Avelos, Daf Kufnum Beis, Omid Aleph on top. Sponsored by official from Official Catering. Daf, when we were going to go to the Daf, I'm kidding, Official, don't worry, I got this, it's on me. Sponsored by Official from Official Catering, V'Shal Beis HaKisei. Don't feel any pressure. I'm not going to take a dime, even if you send it to me, I'm sending it back. But it's sponsored by you. V'Shal Beis HaKisei. The Yisurim that a person has from going to the bathroom, whatever it is, stomach ache, and he cries from that, those are bad tears. Rois, they're bad. Shel Sam, but if you take medicine, V'Shel Schaik, you're laughing so hard that you cry. V'Shel Peiros, you cut an onion and it causes you to cry, Yafais. So therefore, he didn't want to cry by his daughter's levaya. The pasuk continues, remember, we're talking about the Gemara, that life is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't wait until you're old. Take care of business when you're young. Learn more Torah. Do what you need to do now. So the guard, the Shomer Habayis, the guard of the house is going to tremble with fear. These the Rashi says flanken, the flanks, the ribs. The ribs protect the whole body. These are the legs. And the grinders are going to be cancelled. These are the teeth. Shalom HaMelech keeps on saying, the windows are going to get dark. These are the eyes. The Caesar asked Yeshua ben Chananya, how come you didn't come? We had this already a few times. They had a hall that they used to debate in, and we had, is it a shul? Is it a, it's not Avodah Zareh. Omalei, Tur Telag, the mountain has snow on it. In other words, my head has white hair. Sachroini Glidin, the surrounding is ice. In other words, my mustache is also white. Kalboi loy nofchen, my dogs are not barking. I don't have vocal cords anymore. My teeth can't grind. I'm too old to debate. You want to get out of it. Bei Rav Amri, Adelo Aveidno B'chishno. That what I didn't lose, I'm looking for. In other words, old people are bent over. It looks like they're looking for something they lost on the ground. We're getting older. We start bending. Last night we did a Shabbos for Yom Gold. He asked me. He said, "What happened to your back? You look like hunched over. What's going on here?" That's what happens. You get older. You start hunching. You start. I tell you, start losing it. You can't dunk anymore. 2 legs are better than 3. In other words, when you get old, you have that third leg, the cane. It's a shame. When youth goes, the youth smells like good roses. What's chilfa? It's nettle. What's nettle? Some nasty stuff, I guess. Look at this guy trying to eat nettle. They had a whole, only in England, they could have a nettle competition. Who could eat more of the stuff? Really bad stuff. But the Ben Yoda says, Mendy sent this to me yesterday. He wanted to make sure I say this. Ben Yoda says beautiful. He says, when a person is young and his Yetzer Hara is strong, and you overcome your Yetzer Hara, you get 1,000 times more sachar than when you're old and you don't have a Yetzer Hara. It's called, what's the lashon? L'pum tzara agra, basically. The harder it is, the more sachar you get. So when you have that Yetzer, and then you overcome it, you get that much more sachar. It's a shame. He says, I'm too old. I'm not getting that kind of sachar anymore. Tanim Shmei the Rebbe Meir. Doik bekachei v'tashkach benigrei. You should chew your food, and when you chew your food well, so you get sustenance from it, you'll have a bounce in your step. Shenemar v'nizba lechem v'niyah toivim. You're going to be satiated from bread, and you'll be good. V'rar lo re'inu, and won't see bad. Amalei Shmuel Rav Yehuda Shinina, famous lashon of the sharp one. Rav Yehuda was the sharp Talmud of Shmuel of Rav. Shereish sakyoch, open your sack. In other words, open your mouth. V'ayilachmach, and put in the bread. Until you're 40 years old, the food does good for you. After 40 years old, it's better to drink. There's a famous story about Rabbi Victor Miller. The young children shouldn't really listen to this. He said that he was once walking down the street, and a non-Jew yelled out the window. He said, "Excuse me, Rabbi, where's Himmler Street?" So he turned around and he says, "Up your whatever." He said a curse to him. And he said, because when a guy, if a bad person talks to you like that, you say it right back. That's what he said. You have to, don't be a wimp and walk away. You say it back to them stronger than they said it. Says the Gemara, there was a saris, a tzduki, heretic, a guy that liked to make a lot of saris, but he's a saris. He was castrated. He asked him, he says to Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, we had his name. When do we have his name? Yesterday, 2 days ago? No, on Daf Kufnon, there's a whole thesis why his name is Yeshua ben Karcha. Was he the son of Rabbi Kiva? Not. So Karcha, the Gemara understands that he was bald himself. Maybe he was like his father. Excuse me, sir, from here until Baldville, how far is it? Have it. It's like as far as from here to Castrationville. Omalei Tzdoiki, so the Tzdoiki, now the Gemara tells us he was a Tzduki. Barcho Karcho Barba. They sell bald sheep. In other words, goats only cost 4. Omalei Ikra, a castrated goat, Shlifa Betamya. You could actually, it's worth more. If you're going to compare me to a goat, so you're actually a better goat because you're castrated. The basar is much stronger and better. So the tzduki looks down, he sees that he's not wearing shoes. Rabbi Shimon Karcha says the Maharsha must be was on Yom Kippur or Tisha B'Av. Talmid Chacham has to wear shoes. If you have a horse, you're a king. If you ride a donkey, you're a free person. If you have shoes, you're human. If you don't have this, if you don't, The chaper v'kover tov minei. If you dig and you bury yourself, some kids are dead people are better than you because you don't have shoes. Amalei, goiza. You castrated one. Klas amartli. You told me 3. Klas shumas. Now listen to me 3. Hadras panim zaken. I don't like this at all. To have hadras panim, you have to have a beard. Simchas leiv isha. Nachas Hashem. You know what? 2 out of 3 I don't like over here. Simchas leiv isha. No, I didn't like that face. Simchas leiv isha. What gives you simcha? Your wife. Nachas Hashem. And what's a heritage from HaKadosh Baruch Hu Banim? Your children. They told me I can't make fun of my children or my wife. Can't. So it must be that I like it all. Fine. So he says, Baruch HaMakoim, Sheminacham Kulam. Oh, we sit and complain. The kid does this, the kid does that. L'mais, it's a bracha. We have children, no matter what they do, right? Or the wife. Oh, Malay. So the kid, he tells him, you're castrated. You're not married. You don't have children. You don't have a beard because a Saris can have a beard. Kids, you don't have any of this. Oh, Malay. Karcha Mitzayon. Oh, now he starts complaining. Well, why are you insulting me? Oh, Malay. Ikra Shlifa Techacha. Why are you insulting me? Oh, Malay. Rebbe Reb Shimon ben Chalafta. Mepnei lo yihi kebalnu ponecha beregel. So Rebbe tells Reb Shimon, how come I didn't see you on Yontif? You didn't come to me. Rashi says there's a lesson of anava, like my forefathers went to your forefathers, but it's not true. All the Dairis, they came to Rebbe. Rebbe, we said, all his father, his grandfather, all Gdolei Adar. So they came to him, but it was anava. Because I'm old, so the small little stones, they're like, I can't overcome them. The far, everything is like far away from me. Now I need a cane. This is very interesting because Rashi says it's referring to his aver that basically if a person can have relations and this could cause a problem with shalom bayis, you can have relations that you can't make up with your wife. Says the Gemara, we have to go weiter with the pasuk. The intestines, the doors, the openings, the grinder, intestines don't grind anymore. You wake up to the sound of a bird. When you're old, everything disturbs your sleep. You don't want to hear music anymore. Shirim v'shirois, interesting. Girls, boys, Barzillai that saved David, so David wanted to pay him back. He tells David, I can't live in Yerushalayim. I'm already 80. I don't know between good and bad. Once you turn 80, you start losing it, and you don't know the difference between good and bad. The lips split, you stop, you're not able to contain the food well and to taste it. Mekancho's name shall scan him as kabdois. The ears of the elderly, they lose their hearing. Omarav Barzilai Giladi Shakara. Barzilai was a liar. I'll prove it to you. We had somebody in our house who's 92 years old. And she was the one tasting the food. I don't understand exactly. Maybe this 92-year-old was the oisnam, the difference. Who said that from because of the 92-year-old? So the one special 92-year-old, fine. Rava Omar, Barzilai Giladi Shata B'zima Hava. Explains Rava, he's very busy with Znos, V'chol Shata B'zima, Ziknik V'fetzelav, you become older quicker. Tanya Rabbi Yishmael, Rabbi Yossi, Talmid Chacham, Kozman Shemaskinim Chacham Nitosef Islam. As you become older, Rabbi Yashiv, 105, Rav Shach, Rav Shteiman, 100, all these G'daylam, as they got older, you see, they didn't lose it, they were smart. So there's a steer in the psukim here. Over here it says, as you get older, and then it says in the other pasuk, Rashi explains there's a stira, so we have to explain the stira. We take away from the tam of a zaken, from his seichel. In other words, we have to explain. One is talking about Tamid Chachamim, one is an Amaretz. You ever see an older person like just sitting around doing nothing, doesn't have a job anymore, retired, sitting in front of the TV all day? The brain starts declining immediately. But when you're involved in Torah and you're learning and you're Isaac, then you go up in the level. Small little pebbles, like you can't overcome the mountain. He has terror on the way. Everything scares him. He gets anxiety. And the almond tree blossoms. Zu klivoises. This is the hip. This is very interesting. Even a small grasshopper is too heavy for him. This is the rear end. In other words, parts of your body that you had before all of a sudden become like heavy on you. You don't know how to carry them around. You lose your taivas nashim. Rav Kahana have a pasuk sidru coming to Rav. Rav Kahana was saying this pasuk in front of Rav. Kimot laikro, when he was saying this pasuk, nogid v'itnach. Rav let out a oy vey oy. Omar shmamino boto leichem de Rav. I see from this, Rav already lost his taivas. Omar Rav Kahana, I might chsiv. Amazing Gemara. I have a friend in Chicago that told me this Gemara over 100 times. It is the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that creates taiva, because logically it makes zero sense. Hu tziva v'yamoid elu banim, and the same thing applies to rearing children. You bring up a child, right, Yosef? You bring up your child, and all you get is a smack in the face at the end of the day. They have zero appreciation, nothing, and you have to put in such effort and stay up. It makes no sense logically that somebody would want to do this. Tana, Isha Chemes, a woman is compared to a jug, Mali Tzoya, full of feces. Upia, and the opening, Mali Dam, full of blood. Vahakol, Rotzim Acharel. It doesn't make any sense logically. Kihoylach Adam el Beisoy Lamay. Omer B'Yitzchok, Melamed Shekot Tzadik V'Tzadik Noisim Loi, Modor L'Chivich Voidoi. When you get to, somebody just wrote an email, he gets to Shemayim, he's going to be with Moshe Rabbeinu and Rekiva, and I didn't want to say anything. But it says over here that different tzaddikim are on different levels, you get to different places. Everybody gets a different house over there. It's like a king going into a city. Right? Obama comes to King David Hotel. They all go in from the front door. But where does the president goes to the presidential suite? The next guy goes over here. And the little guys, they go to the smaller rooms. Each person has their own place. When they go to sleep, everybody gets their own house depending on how chashav he is. I don't want you to be disappointed. You get up there, where's Rebbe Kiva? Where's Avraham Avinu? Excuse me. How much Torah did you learn? What do you mean, where's Rebbe Kiva? You're busy with the shtusim and you want to see Rebbe Kiva. We'll give you the people who are busy with shtusim. When you're young, it's all shtosim dvarim shalom oisei b'yaldusoi. People that have a lot of relations, mashchirim panav leiziknosi. Relations makes your face black later on in life. You might not see the results now. You're having fun and everything, but later on it takes an effect. A worm on a dead person. When we learn the sugi and brachas and in other places, there's a lot of radar. Literally, not literally. It's a mashal. How could a dead person feel? Feels it like a pin. Shneimar ach psari olav yichov. Omar av chizdo. Nafshi shel odom misabel solav kol shiva. The nefesh, the neshama sits there and is ba'avelos for 7 days. Shneimar v'nafshi olav tevel. Uchsiv vayaslov evel shivas yomim. Omar av Yehuda. Meis shein lo menachemim. If unfortunately there's a person who dies and doesn't have anybody to be menachemim, holchem asar b'nei odom yeshim koimoy. You sit 10 people right there where he died. There's a person that died in Rav Yehuda's neighborhood. We're turning Daf Kufnum Beis on Beis, sponsored by Shia Greenfield from Green Star Electrical Country. So listen to this. Rav Yehuda, he had nothing better to do. Yeah, you have to do what you have to do. There's a guy who died without any relatives. He took 10 people. Instead of learning 10 people, sat them down there. And that's it. Lachar Shiva Yomim, they sat there for 7 days straight. Lachar Shiva Yomim, Mischazi Lei B'chel Mein. The Rabbi Yehuda, he came to him to a dream. Vamalei, Tanuach Daitcho, Shenachtas Daiti. You should have the schus to be calm and everything good because of you, I'm in a good place here in Olam Emes. Omer Bavo, Kol Sha'imrim B'fnei Ameis Yudea. a dead person hears and understands everything. Actually, exactly. Rashi says it means the cover of the coffin. When you cover the coffin, that's it. He can't hear anymore. When you cover the coffin, when the meat decomposes, so it could be days, weeks later, could hear everything. His meat, his flesh, still hurts. And his soul is going to mourn him. It has to do with the covering of the dirt. And the spirit is going to go back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who gave it to us. Give it back to him, please, the way he gave it to you. He gave it to you. It was pure. It's a mashal to a king. He gave some of his servants, he gave him the royalty clothing. The smart ones folded it up and put it in a box. I didn't understand this so well. Like, what? So we're not supposed to do anything? So the Mashal explains that you're supposed to do, but when you have a dirty job to do, when you're supposed to fix your toilet, you take off the king's clothes. The dumb ones went and they started plowing their fields in the royalty, in the clothing. In other words, we're here for a reason, and we also do things maybe we're not supposed to or whatever, but when you do them, take off those clothing. The smart ones gave it back in perfect condition. And okay, fine. No, I'm just trying to understand my own handwriting. And the Tipshim gave it back when everything is dirty, disgusting. So the king was very happy with the smart ones because the Tipshim is very upset with the dumb ones. Let's give me back my clothing. Let's put it back in the oitzar and they'll go away. In other words, bring it back here to the kisei hakavod. Al Tipshim Omar Kelai Yinos lekoives. Put them in Gehenim. Veheim yischabshu beveis asurim. Put them themselves in jail. Avakadosh Baruch Hu aguvim tzadikim oimer yovishal. Listen, at the end of the day, a lot of these high-tech places, they have a ping pong and a workout room and the whole thing. But when you understand that you come to work, you have a job to do. So you come and they encourage you, go work out a little bit, go play some ping pong. But if you shy to sit there and play ping pong the whole day, you're going to get fired, right? You don't come in the morning at 9 o'clock start playing ping pong. Who wants to play ping pong? No, during the day you take a little break. Because Baruch Hu made a beautiful world. Take a little vacation, you go, you this, but you have to have your priorities straight. You got to work. We're here for work, and then we can relax later. We don't relax now, and then what do you do later? So that's what's going on here. The Tipshim, he calls them Tipshim. What are they doing? They're dirtying my clothes. They're doing nothing. But now you come, and now you could rest. You come in peace. What does he say on their souls? Like safeguarded. I'm gonna keep it in a great place. And what does he say on the body of a Rasha? Ain't shalom amar Hashem l'Rushaim. The Rushaim don't have peace. I remember I was younger. My father showed me. What was the name of that sefer? Oh, I forgot the name of the sefer. Kaf HaChaim, maybe. Kitzer, try to scare me out. You're doing a very, you're going to get Kaf HaKela. Kaf HaKela, basically, you take a slingshot, you put the neshama in the slingshot, and you just sling it to the other side, and then there's a malach that catches it and slings it back. It's like almost like it's like a midah keneged midah. You run here in this world, doing nothing, and then when you die, you're going to keep on running, but at a much higher speed. The tzaddikim, the neshama, is right there by the kisei hakavod. What?
Maybe?
No, it's a red sefer, He has a big tzava in there. It's a Musar sefer, like a scary sefer. This is gonna happen.
It was to motivate you to be a better kid.
Yeah, it worked. I was scared. I never did any trouble. No, he wanted to tell me about life, you know. This is what happens. Chibut HaKever I learned about when I was 11, 12. This, you know, the whole deal. Oh! Yeah, Reishis Chachma, that's what it was. Thank you. Who said it? Daron?
Their own guy.
Thanks, Daron. That's what it was. I have to say I didn't look back in that sefer from her, and probably since those days. I don't have tinus on him. Whatever. That's what it was. They're playing catch. He stands on this side of the world. He stands on the other. And they use the slingshot. All the way to one side. There's no menucha. You can't be. You want to rest. We see here. It's quiet. You're resting. You're enjoying. You're in your hotel room. Some get the better ones. This guy's flying from one side to the other. No rest. And what about intermediate people? Not the Rishonim, not the Tzaddikim. If I would have been dead, I wouldn't be able to tell you this. Does anybody remember where we say in davening Duma? No, the wrong Kornbluth. Where do we say Duma in davening? Now I'll tell you when, on Rish Chodesh we say it. Lauren Spiegelman, very nice. In Hallel, Lo yamesim yahaleluka, v'lo kol yardei Duma. Duma is the name of the malach that's in charge of the dead. They're all going to give us over to Mr. Duma, not a nice guy. These guys, the Beinonim are going to have peace, tranquility, it's going to be quiet. But the Rishonim not. Omer Mori. Yeah, is that the pshat? Elu va'elu. Just don't want to tell me. Rishonim Beinonim, says Rashi. Yeah, the really bad guys in the Beinonim. Omar Rav Mori Asidim Tzadikim Davo Afro. Listen to this. So we have Rav Mori who says that Tzadikim are going to turn into dust after their death. Everything's going to turn back to the way it was. Says the Gemara, unbelievable story. The Rav Nachman, they were diggers, digging in Rav Nachman's backyard. I have to tell you this because when I was an electrician, I worked for Bruce Spiro. I was an electrician because I wanted to learn the real estate from the bottom. What did he do to me one day? I just called him to be Menachem Avalim, but he didn't pick up. So he had me dig a 60-foot trench, 2 feet deep, in below zero weather. But here's the kicker. In my father-in-law's backyard. My mother-in-law comes out. She sees her son-in-law digging like I don't want to know what. Digging and digging and digging. This is what I had to do. They're diggers. I'm a digger. All what? To run one wire so they could have a spotlight, another thing. There was probably from the biggest bizyonis I ever had. But you got to do what you got to do to make it sometimes. Says the Gemara. So they're digging. Also, they happened upon a dead person named Rav Achoy bar Yoshia, and he gave them a little snort. He made a noise. Also, Rav Nachman, they come running to Rav Nachman. Nachman ben Gavra, a guy snorted at us underground. Also, v'amalei, mani umar, who are you? The Maral says all this was in his dream and this, but okay, we're going to take it literally. Mani umar, amalei, ano Achoy bar Yoshia, my name is Achoy bar Yoshia. Amalei, v'lav amar Mari, wait a minute, we just learned the Gemara. Mari, and he starts talking to him and learning. Asidi tzadiki dav afro. Well, how are you whole? How are you snorting? You're supposed to be a piece of dust. You're quoting somebody I don't even know who he is. What are you asking me? Kasha from somebody? Okay, fine. Forget Mari. I'm going to bring the pasuk that Mari said. The dirt is going to go back to the way it was. Whoever taught you koheles, they didn't teach you everything. You can't ask me Kasha from here when you don't know there. The reason why bones turn into rekev, they decompose, is because of jealousy. If you have jealousy, the bones rot away. Gashashe, so he goes over to feel him. He's able to feel it. I don't know, they probably say this about different rebbes, different things, but I'm Litvish, so they say when they opened up the Vilna Gaon's caver and they tried to move him in Vilna, they saw that he was whole, and whoever opened up the caver died that year. I bet you they say the same story about the Bashem Tov and whatever, because that's how these stories go. They say it for real, they said that happened to both of them. Fine. Come, have a little coffee by me. Come out of your grave. You've been here for a while. Why don't we have a little shmooze in my house? I see you don't even know Nevi'im. This is a dead person quoting psukim left and right. You should know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He's the one that opens the grave. We have no right to start walking out of a grave. But at the end of the day, how are you whole if it says in the pasuk you're going to be dirt? That is talking about a millisecond, a moment before Tchias HaMesim. We're all going to turn to dust, and then we're going to come back to life. And that's it. I guess, should we stop here? Let's stop here. Noam, lead us, Yeshukayach. Tell him, yeah? Noam? Shir Ma'alois Ma'amakim Chosicha Adonai. Adonai Shema B'Kali Adonai. Ima Adonai Shmo Ya Adonai Mi'amoin. Kimchas Dechol Leman Divur. Zani Gufadam Shem Dvorei Cholti. Shel Adonai Shem Laboiker Shem Laboiker. Chayis Adonai Kimani Achaz V'Abai Magfidu. Oyevidas Yisrael Mikol Avin Yisrael V'Nim Yisrael Mitzvah Mitzvah. I wanted to tell the Olam that our website is up and running. You could see on the website the list of all the different locations. So if anybody wants to, I'll try to remind people before the share tomorrow. On the website is a whole list. You just go in there, there's a little box that pops up, you can click it away, and it'll be self-explanatory. It talks about the Siyum. Click there, you'll see all the list, all the phone numbers, all the information, etc., etc. A lot of people working on this behind the scenes. A lot of big yeshukayach to everybody. Shkoyach David, how you doing?
If we're finishing in 5 lot, why are we waiting an extra week to make the siyum?
Who's asking that?
Anonymous.
It's coming from Yeshua's phone, but it doesn't sound. Hakol kol Esav va'phone shel Yeshua. Oh, so basically, we thought about it. The siyum is on Monday, and a lot of people felt uncomfortable making a siyum one day early, so we preferred it to let us finish, and then we'll do it the week after. And it was a big debate because a lot of people, the new people, and Eruvin, etc. But that's what the Olam decided, and we are happy with that decision. We're going to finish. We're all going to finish, and by the time we get to the Siyum, we're going to really be able to finish.
Are we going to have the night cheer that night at 9:15?
Wow. No. Who's we? Avi, you've never been on the night cheer, but no. It's a very good point actually. No, we won't. I didn't think about it. Halavai, it should be less than 3 hours. This thing. No, we're aiming for like 2, but it's definitely 2 hours.
The anonymous doctor asked me.
Only
people that Eruvin is starting on Sunday or whenever it starts. I don't even know when does Eruvin start. What day does it?
I believe it starts on Monday or Tuesday.
I think Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh my
Shlomi, you heard the shout out from that guy that wrote the email?
Yeah, he's confused. That's all in trouble, but it's all good.
Yeah, whatever.
It's okay.
He tried hard.
They're all listening now.
Oh, hold on 1 second, Shlomi. If that's the only mistake you made in that email, and it's a full-page email, that's so bad. We only heard the beginning. Let's give him a chance.
Does this mean I won't be criticized for the length of my emails from now on?
It's all listen, it's all about the content. It's not about the length. Ooh. Listen, he goes and goes. It's amazing. Like he has a lot of ideas about the shir. It's cool. Rabbi, I want to tell you something very interesting. There's a kid, Akiva Soloway. His mother tells my wife, they're best friends, that he gets up super early so he could join the Zoom discussion before the shir.
Unless you're getting more of an education than you realize. Now, Shlomi, you come in at the end. He's there at the beginning. I didn't say I was getting him the education. Personally, I'd be nervous about Arya.